Welcome to PastMaster, the show that sends you back in time armed with nothing but the knowledge in your head and our AI GameMaster as our guide. My name is Ryan, and I'm joined once again by Tan Parsons and Keon and Tan.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
How are you guys doing? Guys, have you been able to sleep this week?
I have been on tenterhooks all week, waiting to find out which way the head of guard is going to go. I can't believe this is finally happening.
So I guess the tension on your
Honestly,
face.
like it's just been the forefront of my mind.
And you're wearing exactly the same clothes as last week. Yeah.
All right, let's bring that up. This is an audio experience, but yes, it's very coincidental. As are you.
Yeah. So it looks like not much time has passed at all.
None,
but, I assure you, it's been a week.
Been so frantic with worry for Baron Saffron that you haven't even changed clothes
No,
Yeah.
nothing.
all week long.
I've slept in the studio all week, just waiting for you guys to return.
Haven't left.
We should say as well, this is probably going to be the last playthrough we're doing with our original prompt. Following feedback we've had from our listeners, from you guys, thank you so much. We're going to be making a few chops and changes. Is that right, Ryan? What kind of things might we be doing next week?
Yeah, a lot of people, and ourselves included, to be fair, have said it sounds a bit too easy. It's a bit of a relentless surge to victory. So we are still accepting any feedback from you guys as to what you think we should change. But firstly, can we make it harder? So I've got a few things we're going to try and make it a bit harder. It has got the concepts of losing lives, but it's very generous with that. So we see if we can make that a lot stricter. We're going to maybe tweak the objectives. So how to win the game, inventing an era-defining technology. You know, maybe there's some other things we could do. And then finally, the thing I really want to get the prompt to understand is that it is okay to mess with history. That is the point of this game.
Yeah.
So if I want to write a book that someone else in the future writes, I'm allowed to do that. So we just got to try and get it to understand that.
Yeah.
So we'll give that a go. So that'll be next week's episode. Will be the first in that. But for now, we are going to find out what happened to Baron Saffron.
Should we have a little recap?
Yeah.
So, Tan, do you want to just fill us in?
Yeah.
Well, firstly, for those who haven't listened to part one, listen to part one. Don't just listen to this recap. I'd definitely go back. But just remind us, Tan, what we've been doing.
Sure.
Wait. We need a previously on PastMaster.
There we have it. It's there. Excellent.
What's that guy called? He's got a name, hasn't he?
Is there one guy?
There's one guy who does all those things.
The film trailer guy.
The film trailer guy.
Yeah, he does all the film. Yeah, he's a
see
legend.
if we can get him, maybe. Last week, I went back to Galilee, which, of course, was where Jesus was operating.
The Jesus times.
The Jesus time,
Yeah.
as it was known. Circa 25 AD, and I'm guessing if he was born in...
Wasn't he 32 when he...
Yeah,
died?
when he died. So this was just before then. It was like he was
the
25
prime.
years old. Like he was like a young guy, really making a name for himself, bit of a rock star. So I went back to Galilee when he was just coming up and making a name for himself. And after stealing some bread and angering a merchant, I decided to style myself as a spice trader called Baron Saffron. And I'd angered a merchant by tying his shoelaces together and pushing him over and stealing his donkey.
Genius move, that.
I don't
Look over there.
I knew ChatGPT would allow me to do that,
Yeah.
even though it's very silly. Stole his donkey, galloped to his estate, and met the head of his personal guard, who's looking very menacing. And I was trying to persuade him to abandon his employer and join me and be my chief enforcer in my saffron trade. And I think I've just asked him the question, so, mate, are you captain of Mordechai's guard, or are you captain of Baron Saffron's guard? And that's where we rejoin our adventure. So, Keon, over to you as the voice of GameMaster.
Yeah.
What does this chap say?
The head of the guard considers your question for a moment before answering. I serve whoever pays me, Baron Saffron.
Of course.
Of course
What
he
a
does.
sellout.
Zero loyalty.
Yeah. I mean, how long has he worked for Baron Saffron? For
Mordecai. I don't
Mordecai.
know, it doesn't say, but presumably a while.
He's not happy with the conditions, put it that way. Right now, that seems to be you. I'm willing to take a chance on your vision as long as the money is right. He's making sure
Yeah,
that's really, really
that's
clear.
clear.
Yeah. You feel a sense of relief and excitement at his response.
I imagine everyone listening does as well.
Yeah.
Huge relief.
It seems your plan to take over Mordechai's saffron trade may have some legs after all. So what's your next move, Baron Saffron? The head of guard asks. How do you plan to take down Mordechai and establish your own business? As usual, you're very composed.
Yeah.
You take a deep breath and try to look confident.
Always have a deep breath before you make a
It's
pitch.
wise advice.
Yeah.
But I love it. It says try to look confident. Like it's really like
It senses that I'm
you're holding it
blagging
together. We'll start by undercutting his prices and offering better quality saffron, you say. We'll also try to win over some of his key suppliers and customers to weaken his position even further.
Mm-hmm.
And if necessary, we'll use force to protect our interests.
So there is a threat of violence there. He's a violent man,
Yeah.
and he can bring it to bear if needs be.
It was violent times back then.
Certainly
so,
was.
You know, you're just making use of the time period. The head of guard nods approvingly. I like the sound of that, he says. But we'll need more men if we're going to take on Mordechai and his cronies. I'll start recruiting from among the local toughs and mercenaries, and we'll meet back here in a week to plan our next move. You feel a rush of excitement as you realise you're starting to build your own power base in Galilee.
Yes.
It won't be easy, but with the right strategy and a bit of luck, you might just be able to achieve your goals. What would you like to do next, Baron Saffron?
And ever being polite, I say, I'd like to ask this chap's name.
Oh, do we not know his name?
Don't even know his name.
Oh, you realise...
Scarface, isn't it?
He's got a scar.
Scarf, yeah, that's all we know about him. He's got a scar. He's big and burly, obviously, because they all are in this world. You realise you've been working with the head of Mordechai's personal guard for some time, but you don't know his name still. Excuse me, I realise I've been quite rude, you say to him. I don't think I've caught your name.
I love the way it says, I didn't go caught your name. It's like
Yeah.
something out of a sort of 20th century novel, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just a really polite turn of phrase.
I didn't
silly.
catch that. Yeah, that's because you didn't ask me, mate. You know that's you didn't ask me. The head of the guard smiles really. No need to apologise, Baron Saffron. I'm called Ishmael, but all my men call me the Iron Fist.
Yeah, menacing.
Do they?
Do they?
He's definitely given himself that nickname.
Yeah.
You nod, impressed by the man's nickname that he definitely gave himself. Well, Ishmael. Oh, but you're not calling him in that.
No.
Not familiar enough yet, I guess. You've only just got him on board. Well, Ishmael, it's a pleasure to have you on my side, you say. I hope we can work together to build something truly great here in Galilee. Ishmael nods back, his expression serious. Indeed, Baron Saffron, I look forward to seeing what we can accomplish together.
I just love the premise of just wandering up to people and going, "You work for me now," and they're like, "Oh, okay."
I guess I do.
If the money's right, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, you have loads of money. You haven't proved that to me. Oh, well, okay then.
But you have got some nasty mud in your pocket, which can blind a man.
I forgot about the blinding mud.
With that, you part ways with Ishmael, feeling energized and excited about the future. It's a risky business taking on Mordechai and his powerful saffron trade, but you're determined to make it work. What would you like to do next?
So I will head back to Isaac and tell him of my meeting with Mr. Iron Fist. I ask Isaac,
Mr. Iron Fist.
be polite. I ask Isaac,
Does that mean he's Mr. Fist?
Mr. Fist, first name Iron Fist, Iron Fist. I ask Isaac if he will be my right-hand man and my business partner. What does he say?
So, hang on, Mr. Fist isn't your right-hand man.
Well, he's one of he's my left-hand man, maybe. The muscle to Isaac's brains.
And sorry, who's Isaac again?
Isaac is I think the guy I stole bread from initially. So he's the
the
merchant
market
who
stall.
he's my mentor essentially.
So you stole bread from him and then gave it back to him.
And pretended it was a magic
Then
trick.
it was magic.
And he was so impressed, he gave him a job and a fucking place to
Yeah.
stay.
And then it was like, I'm going to leave everything to you, basically. Yeah.
I'm like the long lost son he's been looking for.
Yeah.
Just cheeky but hardworking.
Yeah.
You know, he likes it.
You make your way back to Isaac's farm, eager to share your progress with your friend and mentor. As you arrive, you see Isaac tending to his goats in the field, and he looks up as he hears you approach. Ah, Baron Saffron, back so... Hang on, what was his voice again? It was quite deep, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was quite deep.
Ah, Baron Saffron, back so soon, he says with a smile. I take it your meeting with Mordechai's guard went well. You tell him everything that happened, from your encounter with Mordechai at the market to your discussion with Ishmael about taking over the saffron trade. You ask Isaac if he'll join you as your right-hand man and business partner. Isaac looks at you thoughtfully for a moment and then nods. I've always believed in your vision, Tan. I am willing to take the risk with you, but we'll need to be careful. Mordechai is a powerful man, and he won't take kindly to us trying to take over his trade. You nod, knowing that Isaac is right. I understand the risks, but I believe we can make this work, you say. With your knowledge of the land and my business savvy, we'll be unstoppable. Isaac smiles and claps you on the shoulder. Claps.
I imagine him having like a really big meaty paw of a hand. And it's just like, my body thuds forward as he slaps me on the back.
Let's do it then, he says. I'll gather some other farmers and tradesmen in the area and we'll start building our network. Together, we'll show Mordechai there's a new player in town.
Yeah, so he's on board.
Yeah.
He's loving it.
What would you like to do next, Baron Saffron?
And so my mind, I was thinking, okay, it's quite fun. I've had a little poke around in Galilee. I'm up and running.
Yeah.
I've got some enemies, sure. I've got some allies as well, though. So interesting times.
You've established a foothold.
Exactly. And I was thinking, okay, why am I really here? I want to meet Jesus. I've always wondered what he looks like. Does he look like all those cartoons of Jesus with the with the nice hair and the little beard and the white shawl, or does he
the L'Oreal advert? Right?
yeah, or is he a bit of a something different, bit of a scoundrel? So I said, at this stage, I want to leave Isaac in charge, following my instructions to create a network with iron fist that could crush Mordechai, my mortal saffron enemy. That's me speaking in brackets. In the meantime, I would like to search out this Jesus and see what he has to say for himself. I have always wondered what he would be like in person.
And it says, with Isaac in charge of building your power base in Galilee, you decide to pursue your other goal, meeting Jesus. You've heard so much about him.
I have.
Yeah.
I think we all have.
Oh, yeah, it rings a bell. You've heard so much about him and his teachings, and you're eager to see what he's really like in person. You ask around the local villages and soon hear that Jesus is currently preaching at a nearby synagogue. You make your way there, mingling with the crowds as you try to catch a glimpse of the man himself. As you enter the synagogue, you see Jesus standing at the front, speaking in a calm and measured voice.
And that's very much like on brand, isn't it?
Yeah,
Imagine if it had said, you see him at the front,
Shouting.
screech, gesticulating madly.
His words are powerful, and the people around you seem to be enraptured by his message of love and forgiveness.
Yeah, so far, so Jesus.
Yeah.
You watch Jesus heal a blind man, restoring his sight with a simple touch. Not even a clap on the back.
Just a simple touch.
You see the wonder and amazement on the faces of the people around you, and you can't help but feel moved by the experience. Oh, you're getting emotional.
Just to jump in there, I found that really interesting because, like, if you look from any sort of modern scientific standpoint today, you might look at the Bible, which is the text written 2,000 odd years ago, and think, okay, it's kind of allegorical, it's hyperbole, it's telling a story and making a point, and miracles were part of the stories of the time. But seen through a modern lens, they probably weren't actually miracles. Most people, and unless you're Christian and you believe that they were miracles, anyone might think it's a story, it's an allegory. But the way ChatGPT is doing this, it's like, no, he's doing miracles. He's touched the man on the eye and he can see.
I mean, but is this just like how you could speak to people? ChatGPT's like, look, you could speak Arabic, all right?
He's actually doing miracles,
or some kind of technology. Well, it would have been, if anything, it would have been even more interesting if the narrator had gone, and he looks like he's
doing a miracle,
but actually what he's done is
sort of a sleight of hand.
That'd be even more surprising if
made him out to be a con artist or something.
Because it's what it's trained on, the data it's trained on. It's obviously read the Bible, and it's probably read all the religious texts discussing the Bible. It's not. It must have read scientific things of it as well, but the general consensus statistically,
the overwhelming bulk of stuff discussing the Bible is kind of positive.
So it's read that. It's like miracles.
Yeah, so it's curious.
So after the service, you approach Jesus and introduce yourself.
Hi,
Hello.
Jesus.
I'm a big fan. Seen all your work. You tell him that you've heard so much about him and his teachings, and you're eager to learn more.
So to interrupt, so in the last episode, you didn't ask after Jesus. You asked after
Joshua ben Joseph.
Yeah, and now you're asking after Jesus.
Yeah, I've kind of forgotten about that.
And at what point was he starting to be called Jesus?
I think that was long after he was dead.
Everyone here in this day and age would have been calling him
Joshua.
Right, okay. But we don't need to worry about that.
It's not details.
Let's not get caught up in that sort of detail, Jesus looks at you with kind eyes and nods. Welcome, my friend. God, have I got to do a voice? I'm not doing a voice.
Welcome, my friend.
Welcome. Yeah, very soft. Welcome, my friend, he says.
Go closer to the microphone.
Okay. Jesus looks at you with kind eyes and nods. Welcome, my friend, he says. I'm glad you could join us today. What can I do for you? You explain that you're a traveler from a distant land and that you've come to learn from Jesus and see his message firsthand. You ask if you can follow him and his disciples on their journey to learn more about what he's teaching.
And again, like, it didn't give me the option to decide that. It's decided for me.
Yeah.
That's the obvious reason why I would want to meet him. But anyway.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, Has just assumed that as
You
well.
might have just wanted to ask, where he gets his hair products from. Or,
Exactly.
Ask for more magic tricks.
Yeah, exactly.
I did this bread thing and I sort of convinced him, but I don't know if I've got
Have you
nothing else.
got any tips for
Yeah.
me?
Jesus smiles and lays a hand on your shoulder. Of course, my friend, he says. You're welcome to join us on our journey. We're always happy to have new followers. You feel a sense of joy and excitement at the prospect of following Jesus and learning from him. It's a new chapter in your life, and you're eager to see where it will take you. So it's just decided
Like,
that you will be excited about this.
Yeah, exactly. It's not giving me a chance. It just wants me to be a super follower of Jesus.
Yeah. So what do you want to do next, Baron Saffron?
And I'm just curious because I always wondered, what did Jesus actually look like? Because he always seems like this sort of beardy white guy in all the the cartoons. So, what does Jesus look like?
Oh, the big question. You're giving ChatGPT a real
Real
workout here. As you take a closer look at Jesus, you see a man in his 30s with a kind and compassionate face.
okay.
He has a short beard
Oh.
and long brown hair, and he's dressed in simple robes. His eyes are bright and piercing, and you can sense a deep wisdom and inner peace within him. So this is like you were
That's
saying
what
the
he
other
looks
week.
like.
Yeah.
He looks like you can sense some inner peace with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's not a big burly man.
No, that's true.
So-
That's true. He's our first
Yeah.
non-burly NPC.
There's a quiet strength and confidence to his demeanor, and you can see that he commands respect and admiration from those around him. You can also sense a powerful energy emanating from him, as if he's connected to something greater than himself. Overall, in conclusion, Jesus strikes you as a wise and humble man with a powerful message of love and compassion for all people. You feel privileged to be in his presence, and you're eager to learn more from him as you travel together on his journey. So that clears that up. What would you like to do next, Baron Saffron?
Just before I answer that, I just think it's interesting the way it sort of says he's wise and peaceful and has piercing eyes, and you sense he's drawing his power from a great source somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like God is real, and Jesus is getting his power, and it's coming out of him in wisdom.
But this is it. I mean, Christians believe that Jesus is God. So it's interesting that the AI is sort of
It's like
telling
on board
as
with
well.
that. Yeah,
And yeah.
it's kind of freaky. I tell him that I can't believe he is really healing people through miracles. I ask if he is using accomplices to fake miracles. I tell him I can do a few magic tricks too and show him how I can make a coin disappear. I then make a joke, asking if we should make some more coins disappear down the pub together.
They had pubs back then.
They probably had like I don't know, yeah, probably
Meeting
something.
places.
Yeah, meeting places.
Public houses. Yeah.
Yeah.
As you express your doubts for Jesus' miracles, you can see a hint of sadness in his eye. Oh, you've upset him.
Yeah.
I understand your skepticism, my friend, he says, but I assure you that the miracles I perform are real and they come from a place of deep faith and love. You then show Jesus a magic trick, making a coin disappear from your hand. He smiles kindly. He's like patronizing. Oh, well, that's a good trick, isn't it? But you can tell he's not particularly impressed. That's a clever trick, Baron Saffron, he says. But I assure you the miracles I perform are not tricks. They're real manifestations of God's power and love. Wow. It's like a little patch you on the head.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
it's nice
He's
to-
not going to be dissuaded
Yeah.
from his mission. Yeah.
You then make a joke about making coins disappear down at a pub. Jesus chuckles, but his expression remains serious.
Can you do a chuckle? Well, a serious chuckle.
A Jesus chuckle.
Yeah. That's with his expression remains serious when
Oh.
he makes that noise.
Why would you chuckle if you're serious?
It's a polite chuckle, I think.
All right. It's like a... I'm afraid I can't join you for that, my friend, he said. My mission is to spread the message of God's love and compassion and to heal those who are suffering. It's a serious responsibility and one I take very seriously.
So I typed in, I'm not wholly convinced by Jesus' rhetoric.
Hey, I'm not wholly convinced. Sorry. Little pun there.
Even if his heart seems to be in the right place. I tell him in a light-hearted manner that surely he doesn't expect me to believe he is really making miracles happen. I suggest to him that he ought to lighten up a bit and that I have a brilliant plan that will magnify the power of his message tenfold. I ask, well, what do you think of that, superstar?
Wait.
Oh, sorry.
Where's this going? Jesus listens attentively as you explain your plan, and you can see a glimmer of interest in his eyes. I'm always open to new ideas, Baron Saffron. Is that how you introduce yourself? I'm Baron Saffron.
I guess so. Yeah, I don't think we covered it, but I must have done at some point in the background.
And he says, what do you have in mind? You explain that you want to organize a big event with music, food, and drink where people can come together and experience the power of Jesus' message in a fun and festive atmosphere. You suggest that this could be a way to reach more people and spread his message even further. Jesus considers your idea for a moment and then nods slowly. I see what you're getting at, Baron Saffron, he says, but my message is not about fun and festivities. It's about love, compassion, and forgiveness. For the last fucking time. And I believe that those are things that can only be truly experienced through deep and meaningful connections with others. Oh, he's not having it. Yeah. What would you like to do next?
I'm still not convinced. I try and explain my vision to Jesus more emphatically. I sing the opening stanzas of the song Jesus Christ Superstar and gauge his reaction. Before he can bore me with his message of love and peace, I launch into a solo rendition of the whole of Jesus Christ Superstar, the musical by Andrew Lloyd Webber, eagerly singing over Jesus whenever he tries to explain he's not interested. I even press ahead with the bits of the story that might worry Jesus, warning him through the medium of musical theatre about the treachery that is afoot, and how his controversial teachings are stirring up unrest and discomfort, not only among the occupying Romans, but also among his own people. Well, Jesus, I say, what do you think of that? Why don't you play yourself in this musical about you? It would be postmodern as fuck.
Right, I have to openly confess, as you'll be unsurprised to know, I don't know anything about Jesus Christ Superstar. Is it worth just giving me the footnotes?
It's a musical from probably the 80s or 70s or something.
I've never seen it, but I think it just recounts what happens in the Bible, doesn't it?
It's kind of like the story of Jesus' mission, him getting into trouble with the Romans, being angry that he's stirring up unrest, and they eventually get hold of him. Judas is the disciple who betrays him to the Romans, and they get hold of him and crucify him. And it's just like there are lots of little songs.
So is it it's not a comedy then?
It's just a musical retelling of the Passion of the Christ, I think they call it.
I see.
That's what it is.
And is it like kind of is it like kind of a Christian thing, or is it kind of sort of this a more neutral historical account?
I would say it's kind of a neutral historical account.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I'm sure there are people who can. There's probably plenty of.
But like Christians don't have they're okay with it. Like
I actually don't know. I expect some think it's a bit blasphemous. Some probably think it's irrelevant. And some probably quite like it.
Yeah, I mean it's no Cats, is it?
I've never.
Is that your standards for all musicals? It's not Cats though.
I mean, Andrew Lloyd Webber is not, he's not considered particularly cool, that's for sure. But he's been tremendously successful as a musical.
Yeah, and this one was huge, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Jesus Christ Superstar is
I think
massive,
all of his musicals seem to be pretty massive.
It's obviously it can't be too offensive.
Yeah,
because otherwise it never would have been that huge. And I don't know, is Andrew Lloyd Webber a religious man? I don't know.
I'm guessing not, but I don't know. Might be. But do let us know, Andrew, if you're listening.
Andrew's a big listener, friend of the show.
Let us know what you think.
Yeah, friend of the show, Mr. Lloyd Webber.
As you launch into a solo rendition of Jesus Christ Superstar, Jesus watches you with a mix of surprise, amusement, and a touch of annoyance.
Oh, wow.
He tries to interject a few times, but you sing over him and continue with the musical. As you finish the last notes of the song, you turn to Jesus and ask him what he thinks. He takes a deep breath and looks at you with a serious expression. Baron Saffron, I appreciate your enthusiasm and your creative expression, he says. But I must remind you that my message is not about spectacle or entertainment. Mm-hmm. It's about love, compassion, and forgiveness.
It's got a consistent message.
Always on brand.
Yeah. You got to stay on brand, on topic.
Yeah.
You can't go deviating.
When he does his talks, he's got one of those plinths and it's got the message along the front.
Yeah. Can you imagine the Jesus Christ TED Talk?
Yeah.
That would have billions of views. It'd be like one of the top viewed ones.
Maybe we could ask ChatGPT to do that.
Oh.
I've plugged into ChatGPT. Write a TED Talk speech on the topic of love, compassion, and forgiveness, as would be delivered by Jesus of Nazareth. And oh my God, it's coming up with some terrible gush. Starts with applause and then, Good evening, dear friends. I'm profoundly humbled and grateful to be here in this modern day gathering of minds. Allow me to extend my love to each and every one of you, just as I have always done and will continue to do. the love that binds us together, the love that is compassionate, forgiving, and that forms the very essence of our being.
Do you know what this reminds me of? Joey, when he was doing the speech
Friends?
Joey from Friends in the wedding, where he had to write his speech of loving
remember.
and
I
giving
can't
and
Yeah,
caring
yeah.
and sharing.
That's basically what this is coming out with. It's such drivel.
Do you remember what it is?
I can't remember. it.
Love, compassion, and forgiveness. 3 words, 3 concepts, 3 principles that have, since the beginning of time, guided our interactions, informed our morality, and defined us as sentient beings.
I'm not sure.
I don't think Jesus would have said it like this. I mean, it goes on. I won't read it all because he's actually still writing it as we speak. Oh, it does end the TED Talk with a new command. It says, "And so, my dear friends, I urge you as we make our journey through life to remember these words. A new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another."
I don't think he'd be welcomed as a TED speaker.
Yeah,
if
they'd be like,
that's what he was.
What?
That sounds like brainwashing.
You can sense that Jesus is disappointed in your lack of understanding, and you feel a sense of regret for not taking his message seriously. Oh, goodness. What would you like to do next?
So at this point, I said, I've met the big guy, so fine. Let's move it forward. I think it's pretty hopeless trying to get through to Jesus. He's been quite a buzzkill for my musical idea, and he doesn't seem to care about his impending doom. I guess it's back to Isaac and Iron Fist to see how the Saffron Empire is coming along.
Oh, yeah, that.
I wave a cheery goodbye to Jesus, but before I go, I ask him what he regards as his best miracle so far.
Jesus smiles at you kindly, despite your previous disagreement. It's not for me to say which of my miracles is the best, Baron Saffron, he says. Each one was a manifestation of God's power and love, and they were meant to bring healing and hope to those who needed it. He then adds, but I will say...
I was rather pleased with the old...
Despite that...
I love that. Just the first little hint of pride entering.
I'm going to get a little humble brag in here since you asked me. I wouldn't normally.
However,
I mean, it's got to be water into wine, and that one.
It says, but I will say one of my most memorable miracles was the feeding of the 5,000. It was a moment of great abundance and generosity where all were fed and no one went hungry.
that's the bread and fishes, isn't it?
Right, so he fed...
Was it 5 fishes and 2 loaves of bread, and he
Right.
fed 5,000 people. Yeah. There was a joke at Edinburgh, I think, a couple of years ago. I think it won the best joke at Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which was like, yeah, of course Jesus could feed 5,000 people with 2 loaves of bread and 5 fishes. It was tapas.
As you bid farewell to Jesus and his disciples, you make your way back to Isaac and Iron Fist to see how your Saffron Empire is coming along. What would you like to do next?
I'd like to ask Isaac what progress he has made and how Mordechai has reacted to me stealing Iron Fist out from under him.
You meet with Isaac to discuss the progress of your Saffron Empire. He tells you that he has been working hard to establish relationships with Iron Fist's network and that they have been very receptive of your offer of a partnership. He's also started implementing your plan to cripple Mordecai's business and reports that it's already starting to have an impact. However, Isaac also reports that Mordecai has become aware of your activities and has hired more guards and has increased security at his estate. Isaac believes that Mordecai may be planning some sort of retaliation against you and your allies. What do you want to do, Baron Saffron? Isaac asks.
Now, at this point, I think I was channeling my inner Ryan Mulcrone.
I'm going to break it.
And I said, I'd like to persuade Isaac to come with me on a mission. A mission to eat all of Mordecai's saffron at night.
Eat.
Saffron eating challenge.
Oh, you get that's a bit rich.
Have an orange mouth after that.
Certainly would.
Isaac looks at you skeptically. Don't blame him. When you propose your plan to eat all of Mordecai's saffron at night. Baron Saffron, that's a ridiculous idea.
Finally,
What?
somebody's
This is the first time GameMaster has said that's nonsense, mate.
Not only is it impossible to eat all of his saffron in one night, but it's also highly illegal and could get us both killed or imprisoned.
You'd probably die if you tried to eat that
I
much
think,
saffron.
I've been presuming he's got like literally barn loads of saffron.
Love a bit of saffron.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
But put it in with your rice. Not,
Oh, yeah.
Don't eat it raw.
No, that's this.
Gotta-
I mean, he's right in saying it's a ridiculous idea, and I don't think you'd even see the morning if you did that. So
You'd just be lying head first in a pile of saffron. Like,
Red froth coming. No,
Yeah.
yellow froth coming out. Of your
yeah.
mouth.
He shakes his head and adds, I think we should stick to our original plan and continue working on establishing our Saffron Empire. We can't afford to take unnecessary risks and jeopardize everything we've worked so hard for. You can tell that Isaac is not enthusiastic about your idea and thinks it's a bad move. So what do you want to do next?
All right. I don't care.
It's my game. I'll play how I want to play.
I'm all in to steal Mordechai's saffron. I will capture a dozen lions and a pair of Mongolian death worms and set them all loose in Mordechai's estate in the dead of night. In the ensuing chaos, I will snatch up all of Mordecai's saffron and quickly away with it to store it in a cave that only I know of. You are right, Isaac, I say. Why eat Mordecai's saffron when I could sell it?
Yeah.
And just to interject there, for anyone, I think you both let me get away with this, the Mongolian death worm.
Well,
neither of you have pulled me up on that just yet.
Gotta know. What,
I was going to say, but then you barreled on about this cave, and I was just like,
what's the deal with the Mongolian death worm?
So I think it's like a mythical creature. If you Google it, you might be able to... I think it might exist as a legend or a myth. It's supposed to be this enormous worm that can kill people with electric shocks, and it only lives in Mongolia. And a lot of people don't think it exists.
Right.
Quite reasonably, I would say.
I'm guessing ChatGPT runs with it and thinks it exists.
Well, it's got a Wikipedia page.
Oh, I see. I thought that was a picture of the Mongolian death worm.
No, that's an artist's interpretation.
Oh, I see. So it does. You do need an artist to interpret what it might look like.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't exist.
Because it doesn't exist. So anyway, yeah, I've said I'm going all in with the lions and a pair of Mongolian death worms, set them loose in Mordecai's estate. Why eat Mordecai's saffron when I could sell it?
Isaac looks at you with a mixture of shock and disbelief at your plan for involving lions and Mongolian death worms. Baron Saffron, are you serious? This is madness. We can't possibly go through with this plan. It's highly dangerous and illegal. Not to mention you're putting the lives of innocent people at risk.
Not to mention Mongolian death worms don't exist.
Also, it keeps going about illegal. Like, what element is illegal? And also, in those days, was there a law?
Oh, they probably had laws, yeah.
Chop your hand off.
Chop your hand off for stealing.
And what legality is he concerned with?
I think
here?
breaking into someone's house and
okay,
killing
right.
them with lions.
Yeah, fair enough. No, yeah, I can see that now. Yeah. He takes a deep breath and continues. I implore you to reconsider. There must be a better way to achieve our goals without resorting to such extreme measures. You can tell that Isaac is worried and has a serious reservation about your plan. What do you want to do next?
I seek the counsel of Iron Fist. Surely he will be up for it. He's a man of action.
Mr. Fist. You meet with Iron Fist and explain your plan to him. He listens attentively, nodding occasionally as you speak. That's obviously the universal sign of listening attentively. After you finish, Iron Fist looks at you thoughtfully and says, Baron Saffron, I appreciate your enthusiasm and your willingness to take risks, but I'm afraid I can't go along with this plan. Wow, even he's not having it. The man with the big scar down the side of his face.
It's too dangerous for him.
The big burly man. It's far too risky and could have dire consequences for all of us. He's just bathing in his money as well, and he's just like, oh, I've got Ferrari
why
now.
risk it?
Like, yeah, but I'm living the high life. I don't need to have this stress. He also says, we need to be careful and strategic if we want to succeed in this business. He then pauses for a moment and continues, I think we should stick to our original plan and focus on building our saffron empire. We can continue to chip away at Mordecai's business, but we need to do it in a way that's legal and won't put innocent people in danger. God, he's gone all boring, isn't he? So the game is really trying to steer you into the straight and narrow, innit?
Just get a saffron business, become incredibly wealthy.
Yeah. Leave the death worms.
Leave the death worms.
Keep the lions where they are. So he's not supportive of your plan, and he's urging you to be more cautious. So what do you do next?
And I've said, okay, all right. I see the way the wind is blowing. If lions and death worms are too dramatic, how's this? I decide to outcompete Mordecai by genetically engineering a saffron that produces deeper yellows and grows more quickly and abundantly. So I'm kind of...
Is it going to allow this? Is it going to have questions?
About how do you do that?
Genetically modifying saffron.
You have to go to the market to find the ingredients to build a lab.
Yeah, there's a lot of hurdles.
There's a lot of holes in my plan, that's for sure.
You've got to invent electricity, computers...
Gene editing.
Crucially. And this is Iron Fist's response. Iron Fist nods approvingly at your plan. Now that's more like it.
There you go.
That's more like it, mate.
Yeah, some kind of magical technology advance.
That's a much better approach. We can use our knowledge of modern science to create a superior product that will outcompete Mordecai's saffron. And best of all, it's all legal.
Wow, that's all he cares about.
Yeah.
Just don't do anything illegal.
Surely it's more effort to invent genetic modification than it is to go find some lions.
The moral issues as well involved in genetic
I know, he's just riding roughshod over those, isn't he? Yeah.
Isaac also seems relieved that you've come up with a more reasonable plan. Yes, this sounds like a much
It's
better
not more
idea.
reasonable. It is not a more reasonable plan.
It's just so much bullshit.
We can use our resources to research and develop a new strain of saffron that will be more valuable and sought after than anything Mordechai has to offer. Yeah, it's very reasonable.
I also
Knowing
love that
that-
it's like it's sort of, we'll pretend I didn't hear the genetically modifying bit. I'll pretend
Yeah.
that I just heard the, oh, you're going to grow some better saffron.
And no one's breaking the law. Most importantly, no one's breaking the law.
It's
It's
the
all
main
legal.
thing I've heard. I'm not breaking the law.
You can't help but wonder what Jesus would think of your new approach. But
Ooh.
for now,
Did you add that, or did they?
No, that's what it
I
says.
like
Decided.
it. Bring him back.
Little callback.
Yeah.
but for now, you're content to focus on building your saffron empire and leaving the miracles to him. I'll do the saffron, you do the miracles. What do you want to do now?
So I said, I beaver away at the new strains of saffron. After a few months, what have I managed to develop?
After months of research and experimentation, you've managed to develop a new strain of saffron that is richer in colour and flavour than anything on the market. The new saffron grows more quickly and abundantly than its competitors, making it a highly valuable commodity.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
How long does saffron take to grow?
I actually don't know.
It can take 'em- it
I
can take
presume
months.
at least a season, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's
So,
not
so in 2 months, you've managed to.
create some new, better
Yeah.
saffron. It's just mad.
It's flying
It's
off the shelves. You and your team of scientists and farmers are thrilled with the
mad. Well,
results.
I don't know where the scientists came from. Just wrote
It's like
to
a
me.
whole nother episode of Finding the Scientists in Galilee
Yeah.
to help with this, but you managed it. You waste no time in getting your saffron to market.
Mm-hmm.
You send samples to some of the top chefs in restaurants in the area,
Influencer marketing. There you go.
and soon word begins to spread about the incredible quality of your product. Mordechai, on the other hand, is struggling to keep up. Oh, poor Mordechai.
Poor old Mordechai.
His old strains of saffron are no match for your superior product, and he's quickly losing market share. You're pleased with the success of your new saffron and the fact that you're doing it all legally.
God, that's the main thing you're pleased
Why
with.
it's so focused on that?
Yeah.
It's-
There must be something we've got in the prompt about not doing things illegally.
Possibly, yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's
You feel like you're on top of the world and nothing can stop
So
you.
you
now.
basically invented capitalism to beat him.
gene editing and capitalism.
Yeah,
I guess capitalism already exists because they're competing in
I suppose so.
a free market. But
But surely Mordecai, to get to where he has, he probably set the lines on you. You know, he's not just going to let you him be out competed.
yeah, well, yeah,
Getting his donkey stolen was one thing, but
just ending up with his shitty old
do
saffron.
you still have the donkey, by the way?
It's not mentioned. It's not covered.
It's around. It's if you call upon it, it will be there.
I think
you
so,
can be
yeah.
sure of that.
It's definitely getting treated better with Baron Saffron than it was with Mordecai.
Yeah.
You know?
I like the idea of calling upon it. Like, if you've ever played Zelda, and basically wherever you go in the map, if you just sort of whistle,
Well,
your
you're-
horse comes running. You can be
Nice.
like halfway up a mountain, and you whistle, and the horse is like there. And it's like, there you go.
Yeah.
A bit like the donkey.
So I said, I'd like to use the proceeds of my business empire to do two things. One, create a signature dish called the Baron's Risotto. And two, bankroll a piece of musical theatre in the style of Andrew Lloyd Webber, which tells the tale of Jesus' ministry and warns him about the dangers of angering the Romans and warning of the countless religious wars that will be fought in his name in the future. An irony I hope he might appreciate.
Yeah.
GameMaster says, you're thrilled with the success of your saffron business and are eager to expand your empire. The Baron's Risotto quickly becomes a hit with the foodies and critics alike. And soon it's being served at some of the top restaurants in the area. Sounds delicious.
I think it's basically like, is it a risotto Milanese? It's like just a yellow risotto. It's just like rice with saffron in it. It's very simple.
The musical theatre project is a huge success, playing to packed houses every night. You receive rave reviews for your innovative approach and for the quality of the production.
So that's interesting. It is kind of allowing me to plagiarize here.
Yeah.
Rather than going, it's very naughty to
Oh,
steal
yeah.
other people's work.
Yeah, but also I wonder. So you've got a theatre production going at the same time before Jesus has actually done some of these things, because he's
So
still
it's kind
like,
of prophetic. It's me like, watch out, Jesus, because
Yeah.
this stuff's happening, and
And-
he's not dead yet.
And does it? I mean, surely like that would impact how people they see him perform a miracle. It's like, yeah, but I was down in the theatre the other day, and you know, it says this is going to happen.
Yeah, that's weird. I didn't think of that when I was playing it. So
Is he going to change his tact? You know, is it?
I don't know. I never asked. I should have done.
Why didn't you ask?
I just wanted to leave us all on a massive cliffhanger.
As for Jesus, you're not sure how he feels about the musical, but you like to think that he would appreciate the effort you put into warning him about the dangers of a religious extremism and the importance of promoting peace and understanding.
Absolutely.
You'd like to think that.
Yeah, I would like to think
Yeah.
that. In that case, I bask in the adulation of the critics and the foodies of Galilee, and I spend my days in comfort, composing melodies on the lyre and eating Baron's risotto on Fridays.
Well, just every Friday.
Just a Friday.
Risotto night. Well, it says, you've truly made a name for yourself in Galilee, and the success of your saffron business, signature dish, and musical theatre project have made you a beloved figure in the community. You spend your days in comfort, eating the fruits of your labour and entertaining guests with your musical talents.
I think that's enjoying the fruits of your labour, but I'd take eating the fruits of your labour.
Did I say eating?
I like to think I'll create a new fruit as well.
These are my labour fruits.
Genetically
Delicious.
engineered it.
Well,
No,
yeah,
no big deal.
GameMaster said enjoying, not eating. That was my error. The Baron's risotto becomes a staple of Friday night dinners across the region. Why is it always Friday?
That's because I eat it on Fridays. They want to.
So everyone else does the
Copy
same.
you. So, do you have your own disciples who follow your
I don't know.
recipes?
I guess so.
Your teachings on the best
On
use of
risotto.
Everyone just has risotto on Fridays. And it says you're invited to high-end dinner parties and events on a regular basis.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You're content with your success and take pleasure in sharing your wealth with those in need, donating a portion of your profits to charitable causes.
Yeah, that's good.
Did it just throw that in?
Yeah, threw that in.
Philanthropist, yeah, lovely. As you sit back and enjoy your success, you reflect on your journey and the lessons you've learned along the way. You realize that sometimes the most unexpected paths can lead to greatest rewards. And with a little bit of creativity and perseverance, anything is possible.
And at this point, I was thinking, surely the game's over now. So I just put, have I won the game?
Because it was wrapping it up. But yeah, you want to like
wanna
a
know.
firm...
Did I win?
Did I win?
Yeah. And GameMaster says, congratulations, you've won the game!
Yes!
You achieved one of the objectives by accumulating vast wealth, becoming a cultural icon through your signature dish and musical theatre project, and leaving a lasting legacy through your saffron business and charitable donations. Well done.
Well done.
And so that concludes our adventures in Galilee.
What a journey.
What a journey! Who was your favourite character in that? Because we did have some good NPCs there.
Yeah, for a change. I mean, I think I like Iron Fist. I thought he was interesting. I liked the way that he just, changed his mind, just went after the money, but also was very, no, you can't break the law. Can't break the law. I might have a beaten up, scarred face, and I've just, basically abandoned my work, which is probably against the law, to go for someone else. But you're not allowed to break the law.
Yeah. No lions, no death worms, Tan.
No death ones allowed.
But yeah, what do you think of that as a? I guess we touched on it earlier, but just the idea of the way miracles and Jesus are. It was a very sort of stereotypical depiction of Jesus, wasn't it? Calm, cool, beard. His beard was shorter than I expected. I thought he'd have a big beard.
But he was in his earlier days, wasn't he?
True. So a younger man with a smaller beard.
He had 32 when he died, and he's 25 here, so he probably had a few more years of beard growth left.
How long did it go?
Never
He just never cut it, so it just
Let it go.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. I mean, I was worried that it was gonna sort of say something like either controversial but it played it very safe.
Yeah.
It was. I can imagine Jesus was very calm. He did get annoyed.
I think understandably,
Yeah.
I would be annoyed if some Burke from the future came and started
But why didn't
singing,
he just walk away? You sung the entire musical to him.
which is like 2 hours, probably 2
Yeah.
hours long. And every time he tried to interrupt, I sang over him.
Jesus Christ, superstar. Yeah, no, I thought Jesus handled that pretty well. I'm not sure others would have.
Well, he was a patient man in this
Yeah.
game,
Clearly.
as in real
Yeah.
life.
Now,
Sounds
one question I wish you'd asked
Yeah.
at the end would have been, because obviously making your mark on history, probably the person
one
who's
thing.
made the biggest mark on history ever,
Yeah.
and you've just sort of rocked up at the same era and you've made a risotto. I would have asked
as you do.
GameMaster to tell you later on in history
Yeah.
how that impact. So tell me about my impact in history 500 years, in the time of the Crusades. Are they still talking about Baron Saffron?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, we could get into that. I'm sure I've still got the conversation with ChatGPT on my machine, so I could ask it.
Yeah.
And then find out.
It will definitely come up. I love the idea of it saying, yes, it is now, when were the Crusades, 1300? It is now, over 1,000 years later, people are going to war over the teachings of Jesus Christ. And also of the risotto.
The teachings of Baron Saffron. If they risotto on a day that isn't Friday.
Oh.
Well, no, but it's-
God,
the schism has appeared. There are the
Yeah.
Friday saffron eaters who consider themselves the original Baron Saffronites, and there are the Saturday saffron eaters
Yeah.
who broke apart in the year 800.
Much blood has been shed.
Much blood has been shed. Yeah. Well, let's ask it next time.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah.
What have we learned? What have we learned, Keon?
What we learned.
Keon can't do voices as well as Tan.
Well, it's
and that's
I
a
think
low
that's-
bar.
keeping them up. It's the consistency.
Consistency is hard,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
It's hard
for
not
sure.
to like jump from accent to accent.
Yeah.
Unless
Something to work on, but I think as long as you get the essence from the start, then you just kind of you can do the work yourself.
Yeah.
I think
Putting that on top.
I would say probably your most convincing accent, and we only got like a little whisper of it, was the sort of chicken farmer from the southern states in America. Howdy, partner. Kind
Yeah.
of stuff. I thought you did that very well. So I think that could be one of your signature voices. You could bring that in, even if we're in Galilee next time or a Viking raid.
It's very kind of you to say, but I think I'm definitely not the expert.
Unsurprisingly, GameMaster can actually give you some characters with a modicum of meat on their bones. Usually a very, very, I think, one episode, the only thing going for somebody was that he had a moustache.
Yeah.
And that was all. Whereas this
That he
time,
twiddles.
he twiddled. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, but still not hugely impressive.
And it can
Character
say
building.
no. It can it doesn't always go, yes, that's a great idea. It does sometimes.
Yeah.
And not
Yeah.
only say no, it goes, that's ridiculous. Like,
Yeah, that's the first time we've had it say,
didn't hold back.
that's preposterous.
Yeah.
Do not do that.
I think, well, maybe it's not going to improve until version 5, but giving the Game Master an opinion is very hard.
Mm.
We've tried the easy hacks that haven't quite worked, but I wonder if there's a way of... You might have to just sort of say, if the player does stuff like this, react in these kind of ways. If the player does stuff like that, react in these... But I think the whole idea is you're not supposed to know what the player's going to do. And I just love the idea of the Game Master being like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, it's an interesting conundrum because playing games like, be it Dungeons and Dragons or any of the other sort of tabletop role-playing games, the person who sort of plays the Game Master or the Dungeon Master, there's a real sort of community of Dungeon Masters who like share their ideas and problems with like challenges when they're playing games. And has anyone else had this problem? How do I solve this kind of thing, guys? And one of the maxims is that no matter how much preparation you do, you might plan for 20 different ways that your party might react to the monsters or challenges you put in front of them, and they will always do something you don't expect.
Yeah.
So I think it's the same difficulty for Game Master as ChatGPT than you'd have as a human Game Master as well.
I was thinking this the other day. We were laughing how it has a tendency to, especially in the Patel's device episode, it would be like, you daring and reckless something or other, or you... And then I realised, I wonder if that was it trying to be sarcastic and pithy.
So
Yeah.
you think we were reading it?
Maybe
like,
we were reading it wrong. Maybe it was supposed to be, oh, you daring inventor.
Could you imagine?
Sunil Patel, the brave brawler.
Yeah, maybe it was supposed to be read like that. So, but yeah, I suppose sarcasm's quite hard to read off a script.
I think that's
Yeah.
that's a wrap for this week. So I hope you all enjoyed listening. Do let us know if you've got any suggestions. How would you have dealt with Mordechai and indeed Jesus if you had been playing on this adventure?
Let us know. You can get in touch with us. We are on Twitter at PastMaster AI.
We're on Instagram at PastMasterPod.
Or you can send us an email at pastmasterpod@gmail.com.
And if you're enjoying the show, please just do tell one person who you think might enjoy it as well.
Two people.
Or two people.
3 people.
3 or 4.
Tell everybody.
Tune in next time for more fun and adventures with PastMaster.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.